Due to the current pandemic, we have a choice to make. We can surrender to the psychological pressure of the pandemic or leverage the opportunity to cause personal growth. The situation has caused us to introspect about our life and our priorities. You realize what you have taken for granted. As a working mother, the quarantine has given me the time that I was urging to have with my family. During my various interactions with former judges, senior counsels, law firms, and general counsels, I realized that there's a common thread amongst us all. It is now the time to reinvent oneself. Do watch this video and let me know how COVID-19 has changed you.
The lockdown has given me time to think, reflect on my lifestyle. Last 57 years, I've been swimming along with the tide with no time to stand and stare or sit and ponder. I've missed the famous charms that sages have seen on the face of solitude. Now, whether I should continue this lifestyle, it seems to be going well with me, or I should revert to my original lifestyle is a big question. One thing is sure, that my entire family, including my family doctor and my daughter who is a doctor in England, have impressed upon me that I have become an old man. Now, repeatedly I hear the word that I am old. I've started seriously to think that I am old, and maybe it is time that I too retire permanently from my public and professional life. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I hope that you and your families are well and that this pandemic is not getting the better of you. We've all had to reinvent ourselves in some way or the other during this time. We've had to learn new skills. I've had to learn skills of e-practice and remote hearings and how to plow through an e-brief. We've all had quality time with our families, which is so valuable. But we must all utilize this time also to avail of another opportunity, to recharge, to reflect, and to rejuvenate ourselves as human beings. Quite frankly, the world was not altogether a nice place when we last physically engaged with it. There were divisions, there were enmities, there was violence. It is time, therefore, for us not only to cleanse and sanitize our hands, but to cleanse and sanitize our hearts, minds, and souls, so that when we come out of this, we will be better human beings. That is going to be the real challenge to my mind. Let us reject forces that invite us to hate and to divide, and let us embrace, in fact, the more powerful and purer forces of truth, fraternity, tolerance, and peace. That will be the real challenge, and that can be a game changer for our country. For if we come out of this a stronger, more united, and a happier nation, that will be to the better.
COVID has changed me in many, many ways. It's made me realize what is truly essential, how little we really need. At the same time, it's made me focus on my family and friends and the people who you really want to be in touch with. On a personal note, it's also made me realize what goes into running a home firsthand. On the professional front, it's fascinating to see the new needs of clients and the new ways of doing business. It's also very interesting to see that every professional needs to evolve to learn new skills and technologies. And that's one of the most interesting things that I'm doing right now. Another thing that's happened, another thing that's being brought into focus is that I have a responsibility that I owe to my colleagues, to my partners, to the people in the firm, and to their families.
One thing that COVID has taught us is to be far less wasteful and far more grateful. Of course, that's not something that's unique only to lawyers. As lawyers, I find that for the first time, we are less outward facing. It's less about the clients, and we've spent much more time internally within ourselves, talking to our peers, talking to our colleagues, which has led to a far greater amount of connection, human connection amongst us, not only within our organizations, but also externally with all of our peers. I would also like to mention that what COVID has done has shown some fantastic characteristics of all of our colleagues. The junior most to senior most lawyers in our firm have really done their bit in terms of humanitarian causes, in terms of charitable issues.
Transaction work remains the same. It can be done virtually. I am doing the work as if I am very much in office. I do not know whether it is because I have more time to devote, or because I do not want repetition in a particular work. My involvement has started from a very early stage. It has its benefits and it has its problems. The benefits are, I am seized of the matter from a very beginning.
I hope you and your families are safe. These are trying times, but adversity and opportunity are flip sides of the same coin. The entire engine of the world is slow, but we are not subjected to any race as of now. While these are unprecedented times, it also affords an unparalleled opportunity. Opportunity to think and reflect, opportunity to read, opportunity to innovate, opportunity to pause. Remember the principle of evolutionary biology. It is not the strongest who survives. It is the most adaptable who survives. I don't know when things open whether the world is going to be different or not. But times are changing. But it's okay, because we too are changing. Let us come out of this time with greater empathy, better emotional quotient, values which have stood the test of time.
The outbreak of COVID-19 has impacted all spheres of life, everyone. And lawyers are not outside its scope of impact either. But during these tough times, I have seen the outbreak of COVID-19 having changed lawyers at a humane level. For example, there's a lot more collaboration amongst lawyers. Not that it was not there earlier. Of course it was there. But look at the current scenario. The central government, state governments have been issuing notifications after notifications on imposition of lockdown, extensions, relaxation orders, etc., etc. And for any individual, it is extremely difficult to keep track of what is happening. And if you are an in-house counsel of a company which operates in various jurisdictions, various states, if you have your units there, it's extremely difficult. And that is where this collaboration has helped a lot.
We are forced either to interact only with intimate family or an inward journey of introspection. And this has caused me, at any rate, to look not at that egotistical view of my impact on society or my impact on the world, but my impact on those immediately around me. I am now more solicitous of the needs of course, my family, but also the people who live in my neighborhood, the domestic help, the security guards. I make sure they've eaten, I make sure they're safe, I make sure that people who travel from long distances are able to wash when they arrive and, either are not risk to themselves or to others. And in this sense, COVID has made me aware of how small, how tiny, how immeasurably trivial I am in the larger scheme of things.
Lawyers tend to be wired in a way that we want to win. We want to win if we're fighting a case, or if we're negotiating a contract, or merely discussing a point of law with a colleague. And I think this entire COVID-19 situation across the world certainly has, with me, and I'm sure with many other people, given us a different perspective on work and on life. And that broader perspective makes us feel that yes, it is necessary to win. We have to do our best for our clients. But at the same time, we need to be open and we need to understand the other person's point of view and try and be considerate and understanding. A little difficult for lawyers in today's day and age. But I think that what's going on is much bigger than all of us. And at a global level, it's something that is unprecedented. If this doesn't change us in some way or another, I would be surprised. I'm sure that we will continue to do our best for our clients and for the matters that we handle. But I think overall, we must, and I certainly am striving to be a better person, to understand the other person's point of view, to be more considerate, to try and be understanding, whether it be a contract negotiation or whether it be a settlement of a dispute.
Like many of us, I'm also seeing life from a slightly different perspective. I've realized the importance of family. I have reconnected with a lot of distant relatives and with a lot of old friends of mine. And in discussions with them, you realize that so much of the time has gone by, or so much of your life has gone by chasing things that really didn't matter much. I have picked up cooking in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I think I'm doing fairly well at it. I assist everyone else in all the household chores that are needed to be done. Then, of course, there is some reading that I have been catching up on. No law, I must confess. It's really the Indian mythologies that I'm very fond of. I have also seen a lot of movies in the last 4 weeks. But the best part of it really has been spending time with kids. Every year I used to take a New Year resolution, or my New Year resolution was that I will have dinner with them. And that never really happened. So now it's really catching up for me on that. Not just all the meals with them, but also the midnight Maggie snack that we have together. And then the other pleasures of life, playing board games with them, enjoying a haircut when they give you one, and the thrill that you see in their eyes on it. But I think at the end of all of this, we are really lucky. And my heart really goes out to all of them who are out there fighting for us. And I really pray that this time goes by quickly.
What about the rest of society which is not as fortunate, that doesn't have the comfort of their homes or to maintain social distancing? And I think that what this part of the problem has taught me or brought to the forefront is empathy and humanity. We talk about it on a regular basis, and it's unfortunate that we need a crisis of this proportion to make us think about it actively. And I hope that post-COVID, these two attributes and virtues are not lost, and it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of work and in the unrelenting nature of the lives that we had. Maybe it will take a long time for all of that to resume, but in time the restrictions will ease and we will spend more of our attention and time focusing on work. And I hope that that doesn't come at the cost of the lessons we've learned about empathy and humanity and working for other people, because the truth is that there were enough really unfortunate people who were deeply affected by poverty and by disease and by hunger much before COVID came along. It's just that COVID brings it to the forefront because we are seeing a glimpse of what it is like when you're helpless. But the truth is that there are helpless people regardless of COVID. So I hope that that's a lesson we as a community and as individuals learn. And at the end of it all, if there's one more thing that COVID teaches me, or this whole experience teaches me, it's about hope. We hear about great events in history, we read about them, whether it's the partition when it comes to the Indian context, whether it's the world wars, whether it is in a different way what people went through during the emergency of 1975 to 77. It's perhaps the first time that in my lifetime I'm experiencing an event which in the historical context would match any of those, if not surpass any of those. And yet you have to hold on to hope, you have to hold on to optimism, you have to hold on to the belief that you will get through to the other side.
It's contributing to an NGO or keeping our staff salaries intact, or being more sensitive to people in the office who aren't able to put in as many hours, even on the work from home policy. Um, I guess none of it. I think your video is just has just been an eye opener, and maybe given us an opportunity to consider that that all of this should exist. Nevertheless, I don't think we should wait for a COVID crisis to tell us that that we need to be more human. Thanks.
I think we as lawyers play a very responsible role in really shaping up how the society or how human interactions will be governed in this post-COVID world. First and foremost, I think personally speaking, this entire pandemic has changed our lives in many ways, and we should see to it that we try and influence others to see and contemplate the way we are contemplating today the entire legal system going forward. A, we need to embrace technology in a big way. B, we need to impress upon clients that getting into unnecessary litigation is not something which will be of much use today, or in this uncertain time will not really bear much fruit.
As lawyers, we go the last mile for our clients, but at these intense times, we need to look first to ourselves and make sure that we are doing the right thing for not only our family, but also for the millions of healthcare workers and other service providers, and that is by staying home. The other thing that we all must do, and I have been doing, is to contribute financially towards the well-being of the healthcare workers, of the other service providers, and also for the other less fortunate in the society. You could do that by giving out money, you could do that by making masks or giving food, whichever way, but I think these are the important times that will come back to us in our lives.
What I learned as a first lesson, and I did also send out a message to everyone, was the old Upanishad learning, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. The whole world is a single family. We all just got together as a single family, got into our homes with a sole intent to save each other's lives. We decided to have self-discipline, we decided to have self-restraint. As lawyers, we decided to have self-detention, which we fight for on a day-to-day basis, for the better good of our world that we live in.
So Corona or COVID, COVID, should actually be an acronym for cracking open various inner dimensions. A change in the amount of empathy that we have towards others, particularly our colleagues, our staff. We're caring about them a lot more in this situation. Second, again, a change at a human level, which is a subtle but important change, is that a lot of us are now using both sides of the brain, which makes us a little more balanced, more human, because it's always the left or the analytical side which otherwise gets used. But now we're actually doing a lot of creative things, so making us more balanced. And the third thing is that for a lot of us, the mind is constantly hyperactive. It's important to understand how to deal with that and how to calm down in situations like that, which we don't otherwise do on a day-to-day basis. And we are getting to learn that now. So a lot of inner learning, a lot of human changes, and that's actually very, very good for us to go through.